Good morning and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy show with your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show is each weekday morning, hella early at 4:45 a.m. and 4:45 p.m. 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel and 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Today, guys, we are talking about the will, freedom of will and productivity. What is the connection between this concept of the freedom of will, having the freedom to dream big or to overcome fear or to do what you want to do in your life, and productivity? So thanks for being here. If you're new to the show, allow me to encourage you to become a subscriber. Hit the subscribe button. Get all of these videos for free. I did say free. 1, 2, 3, for free. You can also go to productivethroughjoy.com to see about us. We speak to groups, schools, and organizations about being productive through joy. Very, very powerful program. It's a narrative-based program, meaning everyone's life in the past has told a story. Everyone's life currently is telling a story. And hopefully we all want to eventually have our lives tell a story moving forward. So we take that concept and we've created a really, really dynamic approach to being productive through joy based upon this kind of narrative of approach by writing and various techniques. So really very powerful. Go to productivethroughjoy.com to see about that. All right. Again, for those of you who are new, allow me to say a few words about myself. This is your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. I'm the author of the New York Times bestseller, Raising Fences, which was a Today Show book of my picked up books. Film rights were optioned by the actor Will Smith, whose people called my people, and I eventually agreed to write the screenplay for that particular project. I'm also the author of the acclaimed historical novel, Americas, which is set 13 miles from Ferguson, where Michael Brown, of course, was murdered in the conflagration that ensued initially there as well. I am also the board president of the World Stage, a literary and jazz venue here in Los Angeles, a great 501c3 nonprofit. You can go to theworldstage.org to learn more about that extraordinary organization. 7 days a week of just great programming, jazz workshops, drumming, vocal workshops, live concert performances, poetry workshop, press. I mean, we publish books. I mean, we just do it all. Not all, but a lot. So go to theworldstage.org to learn about us. Thanks for being here. Let's dive into the topic. I should also say that my educational background is UC Berkeley as an undergraduate. My master's is from UCLA, and my PhD in English literature is from the University of California at Riverside. I'm currently a professor of English lit at LMU here in Los Angeles. I'm an expert at being productive, all right? I don't say that to brag or boast, but people are oftentimes surprised at my level of productivity when they hear about my crazy story. I am the product of a young girl who was raped at 16 in a very difficult story, gave birth to me at 17, and then subsequently gave me up for adoption to an amazing single divorcee. Yet at the time, no biological father, no adopted father. Listen, difficult times for the young MD. Yet it's cool. Modi famously said, "How you like me now?" And if I can be this productive through joy, we know that many people watching the show can likewise be productive as well. So thanks for being here. All right, let's dive into the topic. We're talking today, guys, about freedom of will and productivity. And point one is that you want to know that you have the freedom of will to cut from past conditionings. For so many of us, we find ourselves stuck in this kind of feedback loop of our past behavior. Oftentimes, those loops begin as children when people tell us things about ourselves, right? You are not smart, you're ugly, or in contradistinction, you are amazing, you're beautiful. We begin to kind of believe and embrace those particular conditionings. But too often those conditionings are actually negative because we begin to be our own worst enemy. It reminds me of the new film coming out called, I think it's called Us. Yeah, it's the new Jordan Peele film, which seems to be about a similar thing set in the context of a horror film, because it is kind of a horror film when you find yourself becoming your own worst enemy. I know I've certainly had that happen to me in my past, and I know I am not alone in that. And so point one is just knowing that you have the power, you have the freedom of will to cut from that, right? Which goes right into point two. Well, how do you do that? So many of us find ourselves engaging in behavior that we cannot seem to break, even though we know it's bad for us. And it oftentimes manifests for us in our relationships. We find ourselves dating, meeting, being with the same type of friends and or romantic partners who we know are not good for us. And we can't quite seem to stop that particular pattern. And much of it is rooted in the idea that we believe that we cannot change. which brings to mind the really powerful but simple story uh, of how in the early days of the circus, when it was still primarily a human animal circus, they would have elephants. And as you may know, elephants are probably the universe's most powerful animal. And so when the elephants were babies, so how do you control these elephants when people are around? They can stampede. They can be very, very dangerous. So when elephants were babies, they placed a stake in the ground, a rope around their foreleg, uh, to keep the elephants in one single place. All right. So elephants basically were controlled by having, as children, as small elephants, having them tied to a stake in the ground. But as elephants began to grow, they could easily, as full-fledged adults, easily yank that with their very powerful forelegs, that stake out of the ground and run free if they wanted to. But because when they were small elephants, when they were children elephants, baby elephants, they could not do it. So in their minds, they thought they lacked the strength to literally pull the stake out of the ground as an adult. And for so many adults, that's our story. Because of our childhood conditioning, we think that we don't have the freedom of will to run free like the elephant rampaging across the circus grounds, right? Which goes right into point three. Well, how do you consistently get out of that situation? We really encourage, we call it spiritual practice, you can call it energetic practice, getting in the habit literally of day after day, creating morning rituals. If you know my show, you know I discuss rituals quite a bit on this show. The idea of literally getting up in the morning. So in my own case, as you may know, if you know the show, I meditate, do yoga, various types of early morning rituals every single day. So my days begin like this, right? I'm feeling good, I'm feeling powerful, and I bring that particular power throughout the rest of my day. Then also revisit my morning rituals in terms of my reading and my meditative practice throughout my day as well. So I have a self-motivated, self-created engine to drive me through my day. Now, as a sidebar, we think it's fine to get therapy, to get help. That's, of course, great when folks find that to be helpful. But it's also super important to have your own power base, your own methodology to move yourself through difficult times. All right, so boom goes the dynamite. That's it for today's show. Thanks for being here. We air each weekday morning, hella early AF at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel and 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Please go to productivethroughjoy.com to see about us. We speak to groups, schools, and organizations about being productive through joy. I think that's it. We'll see you this afternoon at 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Until then, let's talk about it and be about it. Deuces.